Did you know that 82% of sales teams fail within their first year? I have built hundreds of successful sales teams in the high-ticket coaching and consulting space, and I've discovered why founders get it so horribly wrong. Every coach and consultant I know wants to scale beyond their own sales calls, but the problem is they hire the wrong people, they train them incorrectly, and then they wonder why their conversion rates plummet. I used to make the same mistakes until I discovered a system that's now generated over $40 million for my clients in the coaching space. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 critical mistakes that are sabotaging your sales team before you even hire your first rep. I'll reveal why most sales training actually destroys conversion rates for the high ticket offers, and how the traditional hiring process almost guarantees failure, and the simple framework I've used to build teams that convert at 40% or higher. So to start, let me show you why the traditional hiring process is killing your sales team before it even begins. 2 years ago, I was working with Brandy. She's a business coach charging $12,000 for her program. She'd built her business to $600,000 a month doing her own sales with just one other person on the team, but she was maxed out taking 50 calls a month. She hired 3 sales reps with impressive resumes from SaaS companies, gave them her script and waited for the sales to roll in. 3 months and $45,000 later, they'd closed exactly 2 deals. Why? Because selling high-ticket coaching isn't like selling software. Here's what most people don't understand. High-ticket sales requires emotional intelligence and belief in transformation, not just technical sales skills. Those SaaS reps were trained to overcome objections, not connect with somebody's desire for change. So instead, look for these 3 qualities that predict success in high-ticket sales. First, personal development experience. They've got to be able to understand transformation. Second, coachability. They need to implement your system without improving it. And third, resilience. They've got to be able to handle the emotional weight of transformational sales. When I helped another client of mine build their team with these criteria, their new reps closed 5 sales in the first week, even though none had traditional sales backgrounds. Number 2 is what I call the training paradox, and I discovered this whilst working with a client who had a $20,000 consulting program. They'd hired 2 reps who seemed perfect, both had sold high ticket before and had good personalities, and they spent 3 weeks training them on the complete sales methodology with a 27,000 objection handling framework and a 120 slide presentation. The result was the calls ran 30 minutes over schedule, prospects felt overwhelmed, and the conversion rate dropped from 35% to 8%. So here's what was happening. The more training they were given, the worse they performed, which seems counterintuitive, right? But I have seen this pattern repeatedly. The problem is that most sales training creates overthinking reps who focus on the next technique instead of truly listening. They're mentally rehearsing objection handlers while the prospect is revealing their deepest challenges. So I helped this team strip the training down to just 3 core elements. Number 1, understanding the prospect's current reality. Number 2, creating a vivid picture of their desired future. And number 3, showing how the program bridges the gap between those 2 places. No scripts, no complex techniques, and within 2 weeks, the team's conversion rate jumped from 8 to 28. And within a month, they were outperforming the close rate for the business owner. Now, the third mistake that destroys sales teams is what I call the compensation catastrophe. And I learned this one the hard way. When I built my first sales team for my own coaching business, I thought I was being smart. I offered a low base salary with a generous commission structure, 15% of every sale. I hired 4 reps and initially thought things were looking promising. After 2 months, something bizarre happened. My top performer, who was closing at 40% on her calls, suddenly dropped to 15%. And then the others followed the same pattern. Strong start, then dramatic decline. I could not figure it out until I analysed all of the data. And what was happening was the reps were cherry-picking the leads, taking only the most promising calls and letting the others fall through the cracks. Why? Because our compensation structure incentivized fewer, easier sales rather than maximum revenue. So the solution wasn't paying them less, it was restricting how they earned. I implemented a simple tiered commission structure with accelerators for hitting team goals, not just individual ones. Then I added bonuses for consistent activity metrics, and the result was a game changer. Team conversion rates stabilized at about 35%. Call show rates improved up to 65%. And most importantly, the quality of clients improved exponentially because reps were incentivized to find the right fit, not just the sale. So last year, I got a desperate call from David, a consultant who'd invested $120,000 building a sales team that was right on the verge of collapse. He'd followed all of the expert advice. He'd hired experienced closers, created detailed scripts, offered competitive commissions, but 6 months in, his team was falling apart. Morale was at rock bottom, and his business was bleeding cash. He was 2 months away from having to let the whole team go and return to doing the sales himself.
Oh God, no.
Which would essentially mean capping his business at about $40,000 a month instead of reaching his goal of $200,000. When I took a look at his operation, I immediately spotted all 3 critical mistakes that we've been discussing. His hiring was based on traditional sales experience rather than transformational alignment. His training had created robotic reps who couldn't connect authentically, and his compensation structure was driving the wrong behaviors. So we completely rebuilt his team using the framework that I've shared today, and within 90 days, his team revenue had doubled. His team stabilized at a 32% close rate, and for the first time, he took a 2-week vacation without a single sales call on his calendar. So how do you actually build a high-performance sales team for your coaching or your consulting business? Here's my proven 3-part framework. First, hire for mindset, not just skill set. Look for people who have experienced personal transformation, show high emotional intelligence, and demonstrate coachability. One interview question I always like to ask is, tell me about something that you've changed about yourself over the last 12 months. Their answer reveals everything about their belief in transformation. Secondly, simplify your training and focus on principles, not scripts. Teach your team to understand these 3 elements deeply. Your prospects' pain points, their desired outcome, and how your solution bridges the gap uniquely. Keyword being uniquely. Everything else is just technique that gets in the way of authentic connection. Third, design your compensation to drive the right behaviors. Create a structure that rewards consistent activity, team success, and client outcomes, not just closed deals. The best structure I've found is a moderate base with a tiered commission that increase as reps hit higher conversion percentages. When you implement these 3 elements correctly, you create a sales team that doesn't just close deals. They become a trusted advisor who wants to genuinely help the prospect make the correct decision, whether that's working with you or not. Now, all of this is great, but none of it will work without solid leadership. So click this video next to learn how to be the leader that your business needs.